We could be wrong. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo of podcasts. How's it going, everybody?
There's no one listening, so...
let's introduce ourselves. I'm Eli, and over there is Bret.
Yes, that's... You can tell I don't talk to people that much, because I'm like, we're going off the list too much, Eli.
It's not even like 30 seconds, and it was like,
I was telling my fiance about this, and she's like, how the fuck are you going to make it an hour without fucking, like, turning on a video game halfway through and totally ignoring the other person?
Oh, you want to brag out loud right over there? It's like, hey, I got a fiance. What do you fuckers got?
Yeah, what do you have? What's so good about your life?
This is my impression.
So what games did you game?
Of everyone listening right now.
What games did you game, Eli?
I haven't played anything.
Really? You put that on the list?
I'm
and you're just...
you.
Okay.
I played a bit of The Darkness. You see, with me, that's back in 2007. I mean, I came late to the PlayStation 3 game. Like, I came late into it because I'm a really late bloomer, so I was trying to catch up. I remember Greg Carter on Twitter. Like, he's the guy who writes the Critical Miss comic for Escapists, and he was talking about how...
Or Aaron Dies Alone.
Yeah, or Aaron Dies Alone, of course. That's a good one.
I haven't fucking read a single page of that one. So.
Oh, it's just pretty damn good.
Critical Miss is pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Escapist, but Critical Miss is actually probably like one of the few things they have left that I really like.
Yeah, it's Critical Miss, and that's it.
I mean, they used to have a lot of like really cool stuff on there, and I mean, I've never been able to really get into Yahtzee Croshaw or whatever. What's his name?
Yahtzee,
just zero punctuation.
Yeah, Yahtzee Bingo. Yeah, that's his name.
Is that name?
Yeah,
Yahtzee Monopoly Bingo.
Yeah, Nazi Monopoly Bingo Life.
Oh, fuck you! I was gonna say life. I was gonna if you were just like category, I was gonna be like life. I was actually gonna say the game of life because that's the full name of it.
Oh. The game is a rapper. We could be wrong.
That's probably the one thing that the site still has that I actually really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they probably have some other things. I just don't fucking care enough. because that's bullshit when someone's like, man, this site has like one thing I like. And it's like, no, they probably have like 3 or 4, but you just don't, the site doesn't gauge enough interest in you that you care enough to go find those other 3 or 4.
Yeah, they're probably giving blowjobs left and right. But you won't know. They're not advertising that. I remember one time they had like they had this series, I don't know if they still have it, called Game Dogs. Where the joke is like, we're gamers, but they're dogs.
Didn't they also do that thing where it was a bunch of people playing D&D, but it was a bunch of people from across the porno industry?
What was that called? I don't remember that one. That's probably there was a clever name for that.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was called Penis in Your Dragon.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
Penis in Your Dragon was a reject name for our podcast.
So you've been playing The Darkness.
The Darkness. Because I'm catching up because Great Ticky was talking about it on his Twitter. Well, I think his Twitter feed is a lot better than his webcomics, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
Okay, great.
I like both. I think he's a pretty funny guy.
No, I like his comic. I just love like he knows how to use that medium to the fullest when it comes to jokes.
Yeah, I mean he's a very interesting guy. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And he retweeted me once, so I mean, he has to have good taste.
He talked to me once on Twitter. He tweeted at me once. So
well, fucking Justin Roiland favorited my tweet, so fuck you.
Oh yeah, well, Jim Sterling spoke to me too.
Jim Sterling spoke to me first.
Oh, he spoke to me first. We're good friends.
Is this what like internet nobodies always do? Like they're just like, this somebody talked to me once.
Someone loves me.
All right, so Darkness.
The Darkness. The guy from The Darkness, he looks like the guy from Hatred.
Yeah, he does. I think his name's Johnny.
No, his name is not important.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. No.
Here's the thing. I've only played The Darkness 2. Even more darkness.
Even more darker. It's like, you thought it could be darker, but no, we found a light bulb. Dun, 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 dun. No, it's So yeah, his name is
Johnny.
Jackie.
Jackie. Yeah, there we go. It was something with a J.
Jackie. It's like when I think Jackie, I think of like this cute girl from high school. I don't think like guy who looks from a death metal band and part of the mob. But all right.
I need to wipe the filth from the earth.
He looks just like him, except like Jackie's actually kind of a compelling character that I really...
So what's the difference? Because like he's not a compelling character in Darkness 2.
I don't know. I never played Darkness 2.
He's just kind of a dick in Darkness 2.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. This is the disparity between us. I only played like a bit of the first Darkness and not the second one. You played the second one, but not the first one.
It's like Red Letter Media once did a review of Transformers 3 where Mike... No, I think it was Jay.
No, it was Ike.
No, it was Mike. Mike went in for the first half of the movie and then walked out and tagged Jay in to go in for the second half of the movie. And that's how they reviewed the movie, was based on what they thought the first half of the movie or the second half of the movie had to be, based on not watching it, but only watching the second part.
We should do that. We should do that.
I would love to do that with a movie because the way they did it, they were just asking questions where they're like, oh, so Optimus did this in the first half. What's the resolution to that? And they're just like, or they're like, I assume the resolution was this happened, and then they're like, oh no, that didn't happen at all. Like I didn't even know that existed.
Think about the Darkness is that like Gray pointed this out, and just to witness this firsthand really was something I wish I'd seen more in games. It's like you actually his relationship to his girlfriend is actually really is strong. It's a problem. Like he is concerned, and we get to feel that concern. It's not something like, oh, I have to.
You don't have that. Exactly. You don't have that in the second game.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
It's weird because like it's not like, oh, I have to tell everything about everything. It's like we already get an impression that he is scared for her.
Yeah,
and it's not something we have to explicitly state. Like there's one moment where you're sitting down. Another thing I like about this game is there's a lot of like it's gory, like action, high paced stuff, and they get into space with like these slow, like one-on-one, like little moments where you're just walking from one place to another, or you're sitting down with your girlfriend and you're watching. To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Catcher in the Rye.
Why? And you just you're turning your head.
The entire movie can be like you get an option to stop after a while. You can literally sit there and watch the whole movie. That's like a fucking level of detail that I just find incredible.
I was thinking like, how do they fit that there? It's supposed to be a small file.
Yeah, it has to be. The video format is. I don't know how far close up you can get to it, but it probably has to be like degraded and shit.
It's like you're sitting there and your girlfriend's like leaning on you, she's kissing you, and it's like it's not like over the top or like we're gonna have fucking sex. It is really romantic, and it's a bit mind boggling. We could talk about what's that word again? Ludonarrative dissonance. Just like 5 minutes ago.
I love how like we're so in sync with each other that you're just like, what's that word? I'm like, ludonarrative dissonance. You're like, yep, you're ludonarrative dissonance. No, ludonarrative dissonance.
How are we not fucking right now?
How are we not just banging each other hard?
Yeah, I will be top. So
fuck that.
Yeah, no. We'll see about that, Eli.
I tell you to turn over. I close my eyes and I pretend I'm with someone else.
I turn my eyes and drift away.
Alright, so...
Okay. I forgot what I was saying. I just reminded of that guy who said, like, sex is the quickest way to feel romantic.
That was Witcher.
That was Witcher. Fine. Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, these characters, they're not having sex. They're having an intimate moment, like, together at night watching To Kill a Mockingbird, and... That's intimate without any penetration. That is subtle.
Wow. But it's not like fucking brain dead simple. And That's an issue that a lot of people have. It's just like, it's like why rapists are the villains a lot of the time, or like, because like think about like Sword Art Online season 2, well, part 2 of season 1, where it's like the first part had this like interesting villain who was just this guy who was like a DM for Dungeons and Dragons, who was just like, his whole idea was just, I want to trap people in an RPG and give them actual like costs. Like if you die,
well, to be
you're dead.
fair, like, you know, I assume every DM in Dungeons and Dragons is a supervillain.
Thank you, because I'm DMing a game now, so I was going to talk about that.
You look like a supervillain. Go on.
Thank you.
Right.
And then part 2 of the first season is like his apprentice who just decides he wants to marry this girl by brainwashing her in the game, and like implies that he's going to rape her, and it's just like it's very like narratively easy things to be like. I mean, all the guy had to do was start fucking twirling his mustache and put on a top hat and monocle, and like we'd know, like, oh, he's the bad guy. He's the one we're not supposed to be rooting for. Thank you, anime.
Thanks, anime.
That's why I'm actually really interested in the new game that Christina Love is making, which is like
Wait, is there someone called Christina Love?
Yeah, no, she's a game designer.
Is that her legal name?
Yeah, she made Analog a Hate Story.
Oh, Christina Love. Okay. You know, all these names, Christina Love, Rebecca Sugar.
Dude, I once wrote up this joke panel about Rebecca Sugar, and it's just, I wish I got to publish that, because it was one of the best things I've written in a while. I don't want to say it just because I don't want to fucking say it, and then like 2 days later, someone's like fucking posted that online. Because then I'll be dead on the inside.
Fast and Furious 6. No.
Fast and the Furious 6. Someone send help. I still have friends who post that shit. I still have friends. And I'm like, oh, I know the original artist behind this.
You should comment like, Bret, motherfuckers. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
There are people listening to this and not understanding what we're talking about, but fuck you.
Jokes. I've been playing a game called Marvel Heroes 2015. Interesting game. It's a pretty fun game that gets kind of boring as it goes on. So the idea is it's Diablo but with Marvel characters. So last week I picked up Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Chris Pratt.
I even got a costume to make him look like Chris Pratt.
Does he have his raptor pack with him?
No, but there was a part where
I'm talking about the Pratt Rat Pack.
I was fighting dinosaurs in New York, and there was a bunch of velociraptors, and he was shooting at them. I was like, no, Chris Pratt, they're your friends. Don't betray them.
That's called little narrative dissonance, Brett.
It's an interesting game, but the thing is, like, games like that survive based on what you can do at the end. Like, what kind of raids and boss fights and challenges do they have when you hit the end? And it just doesn't feel like there's enough there. Like, there's raids, but you have to get a lot of people together.
Every time I think raid, I think of bug spray.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta hit bug spray on people.
Good.
Fucking idiot.
Oh my god. That was mean.
Yeah, it was.
We'll try not being a pussy next time.
I've been also playing War for the Overworld, which has like become a kind of popular game. Well, not popular. I've seen a lot of people.
All the cool kids are playing it.
I've seen a lot of people like playing it just because of like it's a pretty fucking cool concept for a game, since it's basically like, hey, EA has been sitting on the Dungeon Keeper franchise, which is a franchise I always heard of as a kid, but I never really played. Which is basically
and you call yourself a gamer?
Yeah, I know, right? You build a dungeon, and you just have these little like minions that will pop up, and they'll start doing things based on the dungeon you're building. And then you try to build up your dungeon big enough so that then you can just tunnel into your enemy's dungeon and just swarm them with your guys. And, you know, it's interesting, and I have fun with it. You know, there's some hiccups. There's like a lot of micromanagement stuff, which always turns me off of RTSs. Thankfully, it's a lot less complicated than something like StarCraft, which is, you know, like crazy amounts of micro and macro management.
I don't think I've ever played an RTS if I have, I don't know. I didn't know what the
I mean, I like playing StarCraft, but it's like I can't move into multiplayer because I go into multiplayer and people are like, you have to learn the meta, which is like you have to learn what the skills and everything you build for are, and it's just like when I get to that point, I'm just like, fuck me, I don't want to do this anymore.
I have this like a copy.
This isn't a video game. This is homework.
I have this copy of like Command and Conquer 3 in my house.
I've always heard of those games being really good.
I've never played them. I don't know why. I keep having these games that I never play. I'm bad at that. I'm just like, I have all these books I don't read.
You're bad at that, and you should feel bad.
I should feel bad. Thank you, Zoidberg. I only help those who help themselves.
Help us, cheers us. Yeah, no. So it's a fun game. Mm-hmm. I want to play more of it. I got it on the Steam sale this week, so that was fun.
This podcast is brought to you by Steam.
This podcast is brought to you by Steam. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they do fucking sponsorships. Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you
by And then
the
final game that I've been playing this week, I've only gotten like, what's my Steam say? I've gotten 20 minutes into this game. It's fucking hard. I don't want to say it's hard. It's you have to invest a lot of yourself into this game.
Like a bank loan?
No, critical thinking wise. It's called okay. Her Story.
You didn't know if I was joking. You were like, no, seriously, Eli.
No, seriously, Eli. Get off your fucking ass. It's called Her Story.
All right.
And basically the idea of Her Story is you're basically playing on like a fucking like Windows 3.0. And it simulates it so fucking well. Like it actually simulates the glare you'd get if you were in like a room that's being illuminated from the top, and like you're seeing the glare of the screen and the dust on the screen. It's great. It's fucking awesome how they emulated that. Mm-hmm. And then what you're doing is you're going into this old police archive, and you're searching up key phrases like murder, Simon, first time we met,
two girls, one cup.
And all you're getting are clips from the several interviews that this woman gave about the disappearance and then death of her husband, Simon. And you're trying to go through those clips and find things and like pull them out and put together your own narrative of how this crime went down. Wow. And it's all FMV, by the way. These are real video clips. And it's like, I would really suggest, like, I got really tied up on Serial, the podcast that NPR put out, which was just this woman, I forget what her name was. She was just going through this old crime that happened, and she was going through it from a new perspective, and just saying, like, how did this happen? Is he lying? It seems like he might be lying about this, but maybe the police were a little too quick about that. Why doesn't some of this evidence match up? And it's, like, about going over all of these old case details. And this feels like a game that's allowing you to, like, kind of play through an experience like that.
That sounds like a sort of game that, you know, something like the Sega CD should have had.
Yeah, no, that's... If you go onto Steam, which... So, first off, the game's $6, which, like, so, you know, as any creator should probably be, like, pissing their pants, because, like, you just see this, and it's, like, $6. Fuck. Like, because it's just $6 for this is crazy. Especially the amount of work they had to put into this with, like, making a room and changing it based on the location of the video, and making this simulator basically of a old like Windows 3.0. It's a lot of work for just $6. It's a great value. And
that sounds fucking awesome.
And you watch these videos and you go like, and you can add your own tags to them. Like, I think she was lying in this video, or like lying. And so then whenever you like put something in that tag, you can then search it later where it's like tags, like search for tags lying, so that you can see like these are all the tagged videos where I think she was lying about something. And then I don't know how it works out yet, because I know you compile videos into like a clip show. So basically you just get the clips, mm-hmm. and then you can create an archive of specific clips and put them together. And I know that eventually you're actually able to start discovering what happened if you can put the clips in the right order.
Wow, holy shit.
My only thing is, there are people online complaining, like, you can beat the game in a minute and a half, which is true, but the amount of meta knowledge you need to beat the game in a minute and a half is, like, incredible. You need to know the exact clips to go to, pull out, and put them into the right order, and then play them.
I think people don't seem to understand it's not about, like, how fast you can beat it, but the experience into getting there.
Yeah, and I mean, especially, like, I get why people were, like, Gone Home was kind of an experience I think more people would have enjoyed if it was $10 instead of $20. Mm-hmm. I think $20 for a short narrative experience is kind of a hard sell to some people. $20. I think I might have said 10. But
no, you said that if it were $10, then you would.
If it was $10, I think more people would have been. I think a lot of people. So there was two camps of people with Gone Home, which was like the really gross people who just walking simulator, blah blah blah. But then there were the people who were like, listen, I get this. This sounds like a cool new experience, but I don't want to pay $20 when there's other games on Steam for $10 that give me like 18 hours worth of content, which is a fair analogy, because it's unfair to completely say that your money doesn't value into what games you want to play.
A lot of people, we've already got this hardwire when we want to play a game. We want to have something to take up time. We want something that we can invest
to stave off the darkness that is our lives.
Yeah, stave off the darkness that eats other people's hearts, and anyway, it's just.
But
I get that. A lot of people, when they see something, I don't like artful or something that like Gone Home wants to try something different, and they're not saying, I don't know if.
And I do want to put out there, I think Gone Home was one of the best games of. I think it was 2013 was its release year.
I believe. I believe
yes.
So. Yeah.
And I think it was one of the best games that came out that year. It's exactly kind of what I want to see more games do, which is just these great narrative experiences, which Her Story very much is a great narrative experience.
I really do love Gone Home. It was absolutely
but at the same time, when someone brings up the price, mm-hmm. I don't disagree with them, because I think that's fair. It is totally fair to say, like, I think Super Bunny Hop, a reviewer on YouTube, he brought up a really great point, which was just that, like, it's kind of bullshit, like, to expect people to just willingly pay $20 for a very short narrative. Like, $10, that's movie prices. That's fair. $20, that's a little bit, like, it's a little harder to swallow. And it's weird. It's weird since it doesn't seem like a ton of money difference.
$20 is usually the what greatest hits would pay for. Back when PlayStation 2, if you got like the greatest hits, this is a game that was lauded by many. It's considered to be like a classic right now that people like playing. You get to play it for $20 now.
I will say though that they had to probably put it at $20, because like. Just thinking from a financial standpoint, like, you have to probably, like, hey, the voice acting, the music, they were probably too worried they wouldn't make the money back on a $10 game, which is why I actually find it really interesting that Her Story has been in the top, like, 20 bestsellers on Steam for the past, like, 3 days or so. Mm-hmm. I was talking about it with a buddy, and what he was saying was, if it seems like it's a single digit, which $9.99 doesn't seem like a single digit, that's a 2-digit price tag to anyone, but a single digit game really rings true in a lot of people's heads. Mm-hmm. You say, like, hey, this game's only $8. Mentally, we know that's not that much of a difference between $8 and $10. But when you're thinking, like, well, that's $2 extra I get in my wallet. That's a single-digit number. It's small.
I can put it to my house and save my mother.
Yeah, but it's like you can expect that. I mean, so right now, Her Story is $5.09 on Steam. And I think anyone who likes Serial, and I don't see anyone talking about this. I guess maybe the Serial Steam overlap was very small, but Serial was I don't think I agree with everything that happened in Serial. Serial was also a real story. I don't know if I completely agreed with everything that happened in Serial. Like, some people some people went gross and they're like, I went to the place where the murder happened and I did all this stuff. It's like, dude, you are taking your obsession with a podcast way too far.
I went to the place where the murder happened and I found the love of my life.
We were both Serial fans. It was kind of weird. We talked about this Asian girl that was murdered 20 years ago.
Well, she said she was a Serial fan, but when we were talking, she just really liked Raisin Bran.
Nice.
Don't you like me?
So, but anyone who's a fan of Serial should totally check out her story because that's basically another game. Though, if anyone beat her story and is trying to look for something, probably one of my favorite games in a long time was Analog: A Hate Story.
You were about to say hatred for a second.
Analog: A Hate Story, which is fucking phenomenal. I fucking love that game. I think it's incredible the way they tell a story, the way they basically. So a lot of writers in Hollywood do this unwittingly, which is they kind of lead you down a path where you know what the surprise twist is. But the way that
the cockbroker all along, I don't know.
The cockbroker.
The clockbroker. The person.
Okay, I thought you said cockbroker. I'm like, is this a guy who's selling cocks, or he just goes around breaking them?
No, clockbroker. He broke the clocks in past. That's why he's broker.
But Analog kind of
stockbroker.
Yeah, and you just fucked up royally. Keep on broken those cocks.
That's the name of the episode now. Go on.
Analog basically leads you down these paths where you kind of know what's going to happen. You're like, oh, this bad, terrible thing is probably going to happen to this girl. But Analog never holds your... It's hard to say. It's Analog will point you towards what the surprise is going to be, but then when you're getting towards it, you're just like, oh, but I don't want this to be the surprise. Please don't let this be the twist.
No, I think and you put that in conjunction with a lot of stories for I believe AAA studios. They like to talk about our story is going to be deep and interesting and that and all that, and it's the same kind of tropes you see in your standard movie blockbuster.
Well, I think the thing I always bring up. Oh shit! Hold on, drop some of my water bottle.
You ever watch Hey Arnold?
No, why?
He's just there's always this DJ who is man, sorry kids, I can't help you tell people to turn off their lights to see Halley's Comet, but oops, dropped my donut, and just...
Oh, I remember the oops, I dropped my donut guy. Oh man, I just spiked the mic so hard right there.
It's I'm gonna be recording this just hey, what the hell is this going on? I'm gonna be donut guy.
God, you fucking made me forget about it. Oh, okay, so Last of Us. There's this part in The Last of Us where fucking what's his name? Troy Baker is talking to, is it Ellie? I forget.
Troy Baker Evan, go on.
Troy Baker Evan and the little girl
Joel.
are talking.
His name is Joel.
Joel and I forget what the girl's name is. I want to say Ellie.
Joel and Ellie.
Jolie and Ellie.
Jolie.
They're talking, and it's this big emotional scene where she's run away, and he finally finds her, and they're in this abandoned house, and they're talking, and he's just like, "Why did you run away?" And she's like, "You're the only one who's ever treated me like you're part of my family. I finally feel like I have a friend out here and all this bullshit, blah, blah." And you're like, "Oh, this is a great scene. I really like this." And fade to black. But no, we don't get an and fade to black. Instead, what we get is then Joel's brother runs up and he's like, "There's bandits here!" And then bandits come in and Joel's like, good work, waist high cover, and just dumps behind it and starts pegging people with his rifle, and you're just like, really? We were just having a moment here and now we're shooting people. That's the thing is, I always bring this up, and I sometimes piss off some of my friends when I say this, but the one thing that holds back game narrative sometimes is that it feels like it needs to have gamey times where it's I was joking with a buddy that in her story you don't discover this one clip where you're like, wait, she lied in this one because she said she saw him here, but in this other clip she said she saw him here, And no, these aren't spoilers because I'm making this fucking up. I haven't played enough to get this, but like
she said, she married the penguin.
She said she saw Simon here, but then she said she saw Simon here at the same time. How could that add up? And then you find that connection, and then like a zombie FPS pops up, and you've got to kill off 20 guys, and then you return to the part where you can start like figuring out who's who again.
I keep thinking, like my go-to thing to make fun of is like Watch Dogs. They advertise it as like a compelling story and all. It's just Watch Dogs is like the generic. I'm Batman. Like I remember before I'm
Batman, but I hacked into your iPhone.
I'm iPhone man. I don't know. I called it where I was talking to you and you were talking about Watch Dogs and I said, "Let me. How many times did the guy says I work alone?" And you're like, "This says like 100 times in that game."
Well, you know what the new phrase of "I work alone" is, because that's kind of gone out of the thing. You can make a drinking game for any serious TV show, movie, video game about superheroes by just one phrase. And I never want to do this drinking game because I'll be fucking dead. Which is, I heard of a friend playing this with Daredevil. Anytime the character says, "The city needs me," then you have to take a drink. And enjoy the alcohol poisoning, because fucking Matt says the city needs me like 1,000 times in Daredevil. Hell, I think he even says that in Watch Dogs, where he's like, "It's not just about hacking anymore. I need to do something for their city."
It's like, didn't you run over 30 guys on the way there?
Like, yeah, no, it's like it's the most incredible. Like, people bitch like, "Oh, stop saying ludonarrative dissonance." Like, there was Bob's video on it, movie Bob's video on it.
Yeah.
Which, like, at the time we called out for bullshit because it's like, no, it's kind of okay to call out ludonarrative dissonance because it's like one scene you're playing as like the guy who's like, "Welcome to our native land of what was the one? Karat. Welcome to Karat.
Welcome to our native land of Canada.
The mystic land that shall give you whatever you want as long as you respect her people, her animals, and her customs." Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go take this knife and stab a honey badger in the face 30 times.
Yeah, oh my god. I think the one thing that kind of sums it up is, like, I saw my cousin playing Watch Dogs, and he was running over people and, like, hitting cars, and as he was doing that, there was a voiceover going, and, like, I think the guy's sister is like, "You have to stop playing the hero all the time." And I'm like, that's video games.
Oh, man.
It's video games. That's what it sums up. I think the best review of Watch Dogs I ever heard of was in the game Grand Theft Auto 5. It was like the first stock assassination mission, and Lester, what's his name? Lester was like, "You gotta go kill this guy who's giving like medicine that kills hundreds of people, and you know, probably show him what's for." And Franklin is listening to him and going like, "Yeah, man, I like killing a bunch of people like any other sociopath, but I don't pretend I'm the hero or anything." And I'm like, I when we were playing that and he said that, I was thinking, that's a review of Watch Dogs right there.
Watch Dogs tries so desperately, but then like halfway through Watch Dogs, I was like, wait, didn't Edward Snowden warn us about people like you? Like, wasn't that a big deal?
I think Edward Snowden will look at this game and go like, "This is like my nightmares come true."
No. He's gonna watch an episode of CSI Cyber and be like, "God damn it, people." Because, like, CSI Cyber, I was watching that with my fiance once, and we were just joking because they're just like, we hacked into his email using his phone, and now we have his location. And we were just sitting there like, they got his location from his phone? That's supposed to be illegal to do.
It's like, we hack into his Skype to get into his MySpace.
Yeah, no. They're like, we hacked into his email, which gave us his phone number, which we then cross-roaded with towers. And we're like, that's not supposed to be that simple. There's supposed to be like 8 judges you have to go through for warrants before this happens.
He ate a hot dog, and only half of it he threw in the trash. So we took the DNA from his hot dog, and he gave us his MySpace account and his Facebook account.
Oh my god, my biggest disappointment with that show was that there was this cyber serial killer, cyber bomber, who was going around bombing people because they were on their phones too much. No joke.
All right.
And I was just saying the entire episode, I kept like leaning in and whispering into Christina's ear, I really hope that it turns out his sister got killed herself because someone made fun of her on Facebook and now he's getting revenge. And you know what? I didn't get it. It just turned out to be some crazy guy who they shot. They just shot him a bunch of times.
They have to shoot him because that's deep. Killing people is bad.
I was so sad. I was like, I really wanted it to be like, he's like, my sister was made fun of on Facebook and she killed herself.
That's so fucked up.
That's why technology must be destroyed. But no, it was just some generic, like, oh, look, technology's bad sometimes, I guess.
It's like, my iPhone took way too long to upload or update itself, so I have to kill everyone with an Android. So,
now that we're done with that, I wanted to do, like, a Roper Report kind of thing from Podcast Beyond.
They don't do that anymore.
Oh.
You know what they do now?
What?
News Ghost. Woo!
Okay. Why not the Roper Report? It is and always should be the Roper Report.
It's like they have a new host, Max Scoville.
I know, but it's whatever. This is something I've been interested in because I've seen it blowing up everywhere. So in response to the shootings, Apple has decided there's been a lot of controversy over the use of the Confederate flag, and now Apple has decided that any game using the imagery of the Confederate flag is off the store. And I'm curious what your thoughts are, because I've seen a lot of backlash on both sides of this. Like, the people are like, oh, remember our history. And the people are like, yeah, it's a flag about enslaving black people. We should probably not do that. I've seen people on both sides really just saying, like, Apple, this is kind of actually a bad idea.
I feel like I've read an article saying that they remove games and apps with the Confederate flag, even if it had to talk about the Civil War. And I felt that's a bit problematic because, I understand, like, yeah, of course they would respond to that. I understand it completely. I don't know why we still carry around that Confederate flag. I don't know why it had to take 9 people dying in order to people to think, oh, maybe we shouldn't have this anymore. But I think I know that is really important is, like, our history and to understand what happened with that. And so having like a Confederate flag in like the icon of a Civil War app, or we're going to talk about the Civil War, yeah, that will be appropriate in that context.
I mean, because we were kind of talking about it before, where there's that Generals game where you're playing as generals on both sides, and when you're playing as a Confederate general, you're represented by the Confederacy flag. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know if it's there's a bunch of debate if it's really the Confederate flag or just the Virginia battle flag, but it's kind of bad to remove it when it's just saying, like, here's General Lee and he's represented by the Confederate flag icon as his token when he's moving around the battlefield. And it's like, well, you can't remove that. That's literally, like, that's the point. We need to know where that flag came from. Like, it's bad when people, like, fucking paint it on their car and they're like, oh, I'm like the Dukes of Hazzard. And it's like, well, it's more than just the Dukes of Hazzard. Like, that kind of means something
How
more.
them Dookie boys gonna get out of this one? Bow, 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 bow.
Oh, my God. How's Warner Brothers gonna get out of this one? Stay tuned, find out. The funny joke, the Warner Brothers company has gotten out of it by ceasing all brand logos of the General Lee. They're no longer selling them in stores. Wow. It's probably a good idea. But I don't think what Apple did was a great idea. I feel like it's too broad, and it's hurting people. It literally is hurting people who wanted to make a historic set game, which is like, we don't ban Nazi symbolism in games as long as it's not like, yo, look at that symbol, that's cool, I want to wear that. No, it's like, hey, look, these are not... Like, I was playing... another game I got a few weeks ago that I was playing was the new expansion pack for Castle Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein is the old blood.
Hello, welcome to the Wolfenstein Castle, right next to the Frankenstein Castle.
And one thing I like about Wolfenstein is that they call them Nazis. Like,
they call themselves National Socialists, right?
They call themselves Nazis.
Oh.
Because that's the shorthand.
No, I meant like the back then the Nazis themselves, they didn't call themselves Nazis. They called themselves National Socialists, right?
Well, they fucking call themselves Nazis in this, okay?
Okay.
But like you got like what do you call it? Like cartoon versions of Marvel comics where they I remembered the Marvel cartoon before for the Avengers before the most recent one that's come out.
The Super Avengers?
No, it's called Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Oh, okay.
They did a recap of World War II where no joke, you might have seen the Nostalgia Chick talked about this. No joke, they never mentioned the Nazis in their recap of World War II.
How? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Like, you just miss out. It's like
they only talked about Hydra, so they replaced the word Nazi with Hydra.
Oh, okay. Because the Nazis weren't cartoon villains already.
And Captain America, the First Avenger, the movie that came out, that they hardly talked about Nazis. They talked about Nazis for like the first 10 minutes, and then they're like, oh, they're now called Hydra. They're not, the guys, everyone, hold on, get around. They're called Hydra, not anything else. And it's like, I think in historical context, you can say, like, if you have a guy who's fighting for the Allies, he should be fighting the Nazis. There's a difference between that and agreeing and supporting what the Nazis say. And now that isn't to say you can't have a fucking trigger warning, which I told you about. Will Wheaton had a trigger warning for Nazi symbolism and got yelled at.
How dare you do a thing?
But I mean, maybe, and I think it would be a great idea if this store, they put a trigger warning, like, hey, guys who are about to play this game, we feature a lot of Confederacy symbolism in here, including the Confederate flag that is clearly a trigger for some people. So please, play the game responsibly. That I'm fine with. What I'm not fine with is just completely... And let me say, this isn't censorship, but to completely rip something off the market and say, no, we're not... That's kind of bad because it's like, as someone who got a history degree, it's like, we learn from those kind of mistakes. And if a game wants to show us, like, here's the kind of battles that went on between these two forces, I'm fine with that. But to completely try to... destroy and obliterate that history, and I'm not saying that like some people are saying like, oh, it's our heritage. I'm saying the Confederacy is a part of American history. We have to remember that for a while there were two countries in the borders of the United States of America, and we need to understand like why and how we won. And it's not all to say, like, oh, they wanted slavery, because that was the whole reason. They wanted slavery. Mm-hmm. But, like, why we won? Because it was actually, like, the Confederacy mainly just lost because there was some big fuck-ups in their intelligence. And there was some great strides in the intelligence for the Union. We knew some of their battle plans. There was a leak. And there's always been, like, the urban legend that it was just their battle plans were one day found on a battlefield. Like, after everyone had left, someone found the battle plans for their next attack rolled up in a cigarette paper.
This is why I keep you around.
For just stupid history facts?
No, it's just like, I didn't say anything for, like, 2 minutes, and I'm like, just like, yeah, keep going.
Well, no, but it's like it's this history is really great to learn. Like
it's important to learn too.
People say like a cell phone could have changed. Better communication would have totally changed the outlook of the Civil War. So to completely say like that's a part of history we don't want to learn from, that's really bad. And it's really bad. And, like, people say all the time, like, oh, it's unfair that Germans have to learn about the Nazism. But they learn that because they don't want their kids repeating that. And we should be teaching kids about the Confederacy because we don't want another one.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, this actually reminded me, I think a few years ago, for July 4th, the Xbox 360, they had this Confederate soldier for Confederate uniform for an avatar that you can buy. It was just a Confederate. It wasn't. They didn't have the Union. They just had the
Wait, they didn't have a Union on the 4th of July?
No, they got the ones who lost, Brett.
They got the one who lost.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, do you understand what that is something that I would expect to be pulled out, because it's like, come on, really? I think one thing that is going to be really stupid is that people are going to use this as a fodder, F-O-D-D-E-R,
Fodder,
like cannon fodder.
Yep.
For like, oh, these stupid SJWs acting all reactionary thing. I think everybody acts reactionary, especially on the internet.
Everyone who, also outrage culture.
Outrage culture, of course.
Although people do tend to think that outrage culture and social justice kind of mend into one thing, but it's like totally a separate thing. Like, you see someone bitching on Facebook about how, like, oh, why can't these people just accept the Confederate flag, blah, blah, blah. That's outrage culture. But, no.
It's like, I believe it's because we got access to spreading our like, ourselves out to the world just like that nowadays. And that can be, like, a gateway for, like, immediate reactions. I think we've all been there. We all had, like, an outlet where we just, like, we have to say something immediately out there. We need to bring it out there without any second thought. And I think that's something that the people on Apple weren't thinking clearly. They weren't really thinking clearly about.
No, I mean, I've read some of the rationale, which is just in the wake, there's been a ton of, like, Confederacy stuff popping up. Like, basically stuff like, hey, just support your racism. But it sucks that there isn't enough to say, like, someone at Apple going, like, hey, that's not okay, but these history games, those are fine. Which, that's what should happen.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this guy who posted this, like, shoot blackies thing. Like the Kill the Faggot game that popped up on Steam a few weeks ago?
That's called a social experiment, Brett.
Yeah. No, there should be someone to stop that, because that's just outright hate speech. That's, like, just outright someone who's, like, trying to cash in on someone being and it's not even, like, like hatred, which was, like, I watched a video of hatred, and at first I was like, oh, I'm kind of appalled. Then I watched the video and I'm like, this is just lazy. Like, this is just like, I think Greg Carter, who we've been blowjobbing this entire podcast.
No, I've been rim jobbing. Go on.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, well, you take one side, I'll take the other. He said it best, where it's just like, the issue with hatred is just that it's like they're trying to make a big political statement, but it's just like someone jumping out in front of everyone and going, hey guys, water is wet. And then everyone's like, fuck, water is wet. Thank you, guy, for telling me that. It's like, it's such violence. And first off, video games aren't PC when, like, there's so much fucking shit. I think Brianna Wu, a game developer, she brought it up, where it's just like, violence is... She talks a lot about how she thinks that games should move away from violence as a main narrative functionality, which is... She brought up a really great point, which I would love to frame it, which is just that, like, she brings it up a lot and people get mad, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But she brings it up where it's just like, there isn't many mechanics that offer a good enough effort reward loop that violence does. Go out, kill these 5 guys, come back, get a new gun. That's easy. How do you do that with non-violence? And the way that you do that with non-violence is ways like I think Dishonored, I really loved, where I didn't kill anyone the entire campaign, and I would just figure out, I was like, okay, there's this guy in the basement of this party where he says he will smuggle this woman out who I've been sent to kill. He'll smuggle her out and, like, basically keep her as a prisoner, but I have to get her through 3 floors of the party. But that adds an extra level of, like, difficulty other than just run in, shoot her, run out. So, I love that. I love that idea of just, like, I have to do something. And it felt more rewarding when I turned her over and I was like, oh, this is creepy, he's taking her away. Or, like, when I captured these 2 brothers and they were basically had their, like, vocal cords ripped out and were sent off to be slaves in a foreign land. Like, that's not a good example. Or, like, I had this guy branded as a traitor to the realm so that no one would ever listen to him ever again. So therefore, I've ripped this guy from his position of power since he now has the brand of a traitor. And it's stuff like that where it's non-violent. You're finding non-violent solutions to finishing these games where or like her story, where like you get a really rewarding, satisfying. I forget what it's called. It's the action reward loop or something like that. You do something and then you get a reward. Like her story, like you find her lying and you find out something. You're just like, shit, I found something. I'm a fucking genius.
I think, like going back to the darkness, it did something kind of the opposite of that, where there was a part of the game where I was given the option to act like to go in a non-violent way, to actually see what happens.
How did we get to this? We were talking about Confederate flags.
Yeah, no. Let me just.
I'm sorry.
And we go there, and I'm trying to see if I can just like talk to a person. But I get there, and the person's like, "Oh, I was told about you. I know how to deal with you," and I get killed right there. So even if I'm given like a non-violent approach in this world, it tells us like you could do that. That's not going to get you far. You're forced to do that. Because even when you die, you get sent back. It's not like, oh, game over. You get within the context of the game, like the darkness that infests you goes like, when you're with us, you can't die. So we're going to go take you back, and you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to learn from hindsight that being a pacifist does not work in this situation. You have to be violent. You have to attack them. And that gives an incentive. That gives an incentive to like to use violence in this case. I hear a lot of people talk about like we can go nonviolence, and that's great. We can go nonviolence. I just think what the darkness did there was absolutely great. It was saying like,
well, no, that's not to say like. And I think a lot of people have been coming out and saying like, listen, there should be violent games. There should be games that use violence.
Of course,
but like, I think there needs to be a little bit more. No, that sounds too much.
No,
I would love. I've always said I would love a game to be like Doctor Who, where it's like he never really does anything malicious or hate filled, or he always figures out like, oh hey, these aliens can't breathe if there's gold in the air, so I've gone over to this mine and released a bunch of gold dust into the air, so now the aliens are retreating. Stuff like that. Or like, it's like,
I totally get that. I totally understand that. I feel like, yeah, non-violence, more games with non-violence.
But I would say I would like more non-violent games, but the non-violent games we get a lot of the time are just like stun the person instead of kill them. I would love to see more like really interesting ideas with that.
Use
like
something that doesn't require a weapon to like put someone physical harm. Just try to convince them to
or just like stealth games feel like they're the only games that do non-violence, where it's like, Doctor Who, he doesn't stealth around areas. I mean, he tries not to get caught, but like, if he gets caught, he finds a way out. If he is in a situation, he'll find a way to talk the person off the ledge. Stuff like that, where it's like, I want to see a game like that, where it's like, you get these really gratifying things to happen, but you do it without using violence.
I get that. I understand, like, the call for more non-violent games, and I think that's great. However, I wouldn't say violent needs to go away. No, I'm not saying that either.
Yes,
let me say something before being interrupted. God damn it!
No.
Jesus.
Eli, moving on to the next topic.
No, like, I just think it's like when people were talking about like Doom being the violence in Doom, I'm thinking this is a game where like the violence is a large part of the game. It's Doom. And
that's why they're fucking demons instead of people, because ripping off a dude's leg and shoving it into his own mouth would kind of be a little devastating to your psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was saying it was a little strange when I was watching the conference and like he ripped off a guy's arm and beat him to death with it, and there was like some guy in the crowd going like, yeah, and I was just like, really? That's the part you want? Like when the chainsaw came out and it was like that classic Doom chainsaw, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's like old Doom. And then I was waiting, like for the BFG and stuff like that. But like when it's just like some dude like was like punching a demon to death, and then just one guy's in the audience like, woo! It's just like that's a little weird.
That's our video game equivalent of Ave Maria, Brett.
Ave Maria, the song?
Yes. No, Ave Maria the porno. No, okay.
All right, so what was our next topic? Oh, well, I wanted to talk about, so this week, Destiny, they revealed that in the following expansion, Taken King, there's going to be a quest that is related to Red Bull.
All right.
And it's going to be, you have to drink a can of Red Bull to get a quest, to get a code to access the quest.
Oh. Advertisements and games.
So Dying Light, a video game that came out a few months ago. It's like an open world zombie game. It's actually pretty cool. They put out a JPEG on their Twitter that was like, they were joking about how they were like, oh, wait for this new we're jumping on the latest trend in game marketing. Level up your game with the real king of hydration. Drink a glass of water for an epic code for new content in our game. And they've gone full balls to the walls with this. They're really giving out campaigns like a DLC if you send them a photo on Twitter of you drinking water.
I don't know. Water seems a little not Mountain Dewy to me. Is it green? Can I drink green water?
No, it's not green. It's like clear. I was gonna say white. I was like, I wouldn't drink any white water.
Water.
So I thought that was funny. Yeah. I got a giggle out of that where they're just like going all balls to the walls with this glass of water. I got a giggle and then a kerfuffle and then I stopped right there.
When I hear a giggle, I think, oh, you cheeky bastard.
Okay, that's not okay. Okay, wow.
That's a giggle to me. What's a giggle to you? That's a chuckle.
Oh, you want to talk about Chris Pratt hanging out with female/male dinosaur, transsexual dinosaurs?
Nah, wait. There's a guy I follow, Sonic Blue Ranger.
Yeah, I've seen him around. I think he's like favorited tweets of mine or something like that.
He's a pretty cool dude.
Okay.
He's a pretty cool cat. He posted this link about apparently.
That's literally what I just said. Chris Pratt hanging out with transsexual dinosaurs, and you're like, no, that's not really.
It's not transsexual dinosaurs. I wouldn't say. It's like the action figures say that the dinosaurs are male when the dinosaurs are like female. I'm not like a giant Jurassic Park fan. One thing I remember from the movies is that...
Oh no, you're gonna love this. In the movie Jurassic World themselves, I believe a couple of the dinos were male. Mm-hmm. A couple of the velociraptors were male. The issue comes into place with I think it's Blue, whoever was the beta of the pack. That was Chris Pratt's like a velociraptor of like love that he seemed like he was fucking. It turns out it's a woman because one guy's like, he's a pretty good dino, and then Chris Pratt just looks at him and he's like, she's a pretty good dino, and then he's like, oh snap! And but then like
wins again.
The toys are just like that douchebag in the movie. So
I'm thinking like, why would...
Clever bro. I like that title.
Bro.
Clever bro. Clever bro.
I'm thinking there are boys out there who think those dinosaurs are cool regardless of their gender. So why not have it there? You could actually write that down without even using a pronoun. You could describe the dinosaur without even using a gendered pronoun, and it would work. Why did they especially make that a male? I wonder why.
I wonder.
It's just like in a series where they are predominantly female,
and it was a good explanation. If you just make females, they won't be mating and fucking at all times, and you can inseminate them at your own choosing. Mm-hmm. Male dinos you can't inseminate them, so you can't make new dinos, and it just. But I think they were female for like a reason of like, yeah, it's crazy. It's a little funny. Toys have always kind of been like that. Like there's always just this weird, like I don't get it either. Why are they guy? I guess it's like I remember reading this press briefer from not press briefer, press like leak, I guess you could say, from
press release
Kevin Smith.
Uh-huh.
Where he was just talking to, I don't know if it's Bruce Timm or if it was someone else who worked on the Green Lantern TV show, but they were just like, yeah, we got canceled because the Cartoon Network didn't wanna. We told Cartoon Network that our show was bringing in girls, and girls wanted to buy merchandise, but Cartoon Network only wanted to make toy-based merchandise.
So this is before Steven Universe, right?
Yes,
clearly.
This was the Green Lantern cartoon,
okay.
And Kevin Smith and this guy were talking about how like girls tend to want merchandise that isn't just straight up toys. They want clothing. I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to they want the fucking jewelry and the panties and the tampon that you use during heavy flows.
They want a fucking purse. They want to look pretty when they go down to the club.
But what this guy was saying was based on research that they had done, was just that girls wanted merchandise
and to have fun.
They wanted more like clothing based merchandise. And they didn't really want toys. The girl demographic didn't really seem to care about. They didn't need toys of the show. They wanted like DVDs and they wanted shirts.
Well, give them a baby Green Lantern. How about that?
And so like this guy was talking about it, and he was like, yeah. So Cartoon Network started to realize we had a big girl demographic, and they got mad because they're like, we can't market to your girl demographic because we only want to put out action figures. And Kevin Smith was like, well, then tell them just to put out fucking shirts and umbrellas and stuff like that, like what the girls wanted. And they're like, yeah, they didn't really feel like doing that. So I guess it comes from a point of like, guys want toys, so the toys have to be guys.
I think it's time for us to go right now. You want to do any plugs for like
anything we do online?
Yeah.
No, I think all I really do online right now is I tweet at the tweeter 1tbret at 1tbret.
Mm-hmm.
You can stalk me there for more information on Eli.
I think you want to verify that it's ONE, the word one.
Yeah, it's the word. It's at ONETBRET.
It's yeah, okay. I was gonna say like there's one T, and I'm like that's in your name. Why do I have to verify that?
Yeah. I still get people who are like, I just figured out what your username means. I'm like,
what does the T stand for?
Well, like when people are like, why is it one T? And it's like, oh, jeez.
Just say one titty. I only got one titty. Lost one for the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost one during Vietnam.
It was one hell of a war, man. So
it was one hell of a war. I wasn't even there.
So you can find me like, well, I'm gonna put this on my YouTube channel, Bass Clef Eli, and you can also, so you're right there. You can subscribe if you want to see more of our fucking bullshit.
For this fucking shit.
This motherfucking shit. I'm gonna try to do some more videos on this channel. Okay, my Twitter is at EliRV1. That's the number 1 for this case. And my Tumblr is Bass Clef Eli. I reblog a bunch of shit. I have a blog. I also have a WordPress. I should post something on that eventually. It's a dailybase.wordpress.com. The title is ironic because it's not fucking daily at all.
Okay.
Great. So, thank you so much for listening up to this point for some reason. And if you want, well, we would love to hear your feedback at our Twitters or in the comments below. And we love you, not you. Anyway, so thank you so much for your time and for tolerating my fucking bullshit.
It's good.
It's good. Okay, let's end it. Bye.
Bye.